Hi everyone, I'm True Soul, and welcome to a little, I'm not really sure what I'm going to call this video. It's kind of like a behind the scenes / toy haul. As you can see, I got a couple of figures here that I got from Big Bad Toy Store. Mostly for stop motion purposes, but I thought it'd be cool to, do a little video on at least some of them. Over here, as you can see, I got Dr. Ellie Statter, which I really mostly got this figure just to be like a background character for my stop motion stuff. So we're not going to talk too much about her. What we are primarily going to talk about is the new Mcfarlane Batman 66 Wonder Woman. For those of you who don't know, Mcfarlane has been making a couple of 6-inch toy lines, which for those of you who know, I don't really buy DC figures from Mcfarlane, mostly because they're a little too tall and I don't like them being that tall. But they came out with a new line, so I figured I'd get a couple of those because I don't really have any DC action figures. The only DC action figure I have, guys, and he's hiding back here somewhere, so let me try to grab him, is this Flash. Now this Flash was made from like Mattel back in the day. I can't exactly remember what DC line he came from. I think this Flash is from like a 7-pack, like a Justice League DC pack. And I mostly got him because, one, Flash is my favorite DC superhero. And I also, wanted to make some like stop motions with some DC characters, but I might end up not using this one because, as you can see, this is how he sits down, guys. And he also doesn't have a swivel in the leg, among other things that kind of would make him annoying to try to articulate for a stop motion. So yeah, kind of took a L on that one. I need to do more research on Mattel DC figures because, like, me and my brother did have a couple of DC figures growing up and they had way better articulation than this. So I need to find out what that toy line is and get a Flash from that one, because this one's kind of not the best. But anyway, back to my figures. I also got a Mafex Starlight from the boys. I got her on sale for like $55 on Big Bad Toy Store. Now I primarily got her for two reasons. One, she is the only, or one of the only supes in the show that is not a complete scumbag. And second, I also got her for some stop motion purposes. So we're going to primarily focus on these two today, and as you guys might notice in the back, I got kind of a little background display going on for a future stop motion idea. And if you guys want to know exactly what that stop motion idea is, I already have a video of that up on my channel. It's supposed to be a prologue to Figure Fighter 3, so if you guys are interested in that, go ahead and go check that out. I'll probably leave it link in the description below, and I'll probably also have it at the end of this video. But without further ado, let's go ahead and open up the Wonder Woman first, since that seems to be the less complex figure. And here she is, ladies and gentlemen, Wonder Woman out of the packaging. Now some of you can already tell this Wonder Woman does have limited articulation, but I think it's because this is kind of like a homage to like a retro line of figures, so it kind of makes sense for it to have limited articulation. I have been trying to get some more DC figs. I actually used to have a Wonder Woman action figure. For those of you who maybe remember some of my older videos, my older stop motion videos, I did used to actually have a Wonder Woman. It was the movie one, and that was like the only one I had, and I believe it was from the Mattel DC Multiverse line, I think it was. But I actually like the more classic look for Wonder Woman, and even though this one doesn't have a whole bunch of articulation, I still feel like I can make it work for what my idea is, which we'll get to that later because that's still a ways off. But even though she has limited articulation, let's go ahead and take a look at the articulation that she does have. She of course has some articulation in the head. I believe there's a joint up here in the upper head here, but kind of like with marble figures, the hair sculpt does hinder articulation, but I think it hinders it a little bit more than a marble legend, because her hair is like super, it's made out of extremely tough plastic. Like you can't even move it. So good luck with that. But I guess to make up for that, she does have a swivel in the torso. So if you wanted to look around, there you go. She also has a hinge up in the arm, which has a decent amount of range on that. I believe she also has a swivel, not a hinge, a swivel in the wrist. And she has two, I'm not sure if this would be considered a hinge. I guess it would be considered a hinge. Has a hinge in the leg. So I guess you can do the splits that way. No articulation going straight out. That's what a lot of the DC figures that I had growing up. In fact, I had a Green Lantern. Let me go see if I can check, because I still got a couple of figures in some storage containers that I actually used to play with when I was a kid. So I'm gonna be right back. Let's see, I'll show you what I'm talking about. So here we are, guys. I went into a storage container and found him. This is a Mattel DC action figure that I actually used to play with when I was a kid. It's one of the few DC action figures that I had, and it was actually one of my favorite action figures that I had. And as you can see, he has this odd joint that like Marvel Legends don't have nowadays, where he had a hinge right here where it would hinge out, but he also had another hinge that would like hinge forward. So maybe in the future I'll probably try to find a Wonder Woman with a more classic design. I'm sure DC made one, or Mattel made one back in the day, but right now I was just looking for one that had the overall classic Wonder Woman look, and this is it. Another interesting thing about this figure that I want to talk about is her lasso. I saw digital renderings of her with the lasso, and I thought it was just gonna be like a plastic piece that you like just hooked on to it, but this is actually made out of a kind of fabric, as you can see. Now it's tied up. I don't know if you can untie it. I think you can, but I can imagine it being a hassle to retie. But you know what, I'm gonna untie it. Ta-da! So here you go, guys. This is actually actual lasso, and I'm gonna try to see if I can put it. I think this is her lasso of truth, if I remember correctly. So this is Wonder Woman's lasso of truth. Probably gonna try to tie it back later, but for now I'm gonna have it out just so you guys can see it. It's probably going to be a hassle to tie back. I'll probably see if I can tie it back at the end of the video. So that's Wonder Woman, guys. I'm gonna move them back. Now let's get into a more complex action figure. Starlight. Now as you can see, Starlight comes with a good bit of accessories. I'm not gonna do a in-depth review, only because I'm trying to focus a little bit more on stop motions. The only reason I'm not working on my stop motion right now is because I'm still waiting for a couple of key components to get here so that I can actually start working on it. I'm already finished the script and everything, and we're recording it as well. I finished the script and I finished recording, but still a couple more things I need to do. But anyway, let's go ahead and open up Starlight and see how she looks. And here she is, ladies and gentlemen, Starlight out of the packaging. Now, I only have one other Mafex figure, that being the Magneto, but for some reason I forgot that it's kind of a staple for Mafex to put those little wires in the cape so you can kind of get like some posing and dynamic posing out of it. I'm still learning to properly pose these capes in a way that actually looks cool, so I'm still working on that part. But other than that, pretty cool looking figure. This, I believe, is pretty much the outfit that we see her in the movie, not the movie, the show. I think they changed it probably like 1, maybe 2 times, I can't remember. But one thing I did notice off the bat trying to take this figure out, I wanted to talk about the elbow joint. Now, as you guys can see, it's not a ball joint that's in here. It looks like it's just like one singular like hinge, and I'm guessing they did that so they wouldn't break up the sculpt too much. But I actually feel like you don't get the most. I mean, you still get a pretty good bend out of there, but I was trying to make her put her hands on her hips without it looking weird, and I kind of can't do it. I don't know, it looks a little off to me, but maybe that's just me. Other than that, like, the articulation is decent. This is Mafex we're talking about here. So it got some decent movement on the head, but of course hair sculpts hinder articulation. Guess that's just something we're just all gonna have to deal with. Also has what I believe to be some type of ball and like a peg inside the arms. Already discussed the arm articulation. It has a hinge in the wrist here. Has what feels like a ball joint in the upper part of the torso, and also has a ball joint in the lower part of the torso with the thigh. Also notice he seems to have one single, it's the same type of hinge that's in the elbow is also in the knee, but you also get a good range of motion out of that. You almost completely sit down, so that's also really cool. I don't know if this is kind of how Mafex does their female action figures. Like I said, the only other action figure that I have is Magneto, and Magneto seemed pretty decent. Not the biggest fan of the high heels, but hey, it is what it is. And I also like the fact that it has what looks like it's supposed to be some ankle pivot. Oh, there we go. Well, not ankle pivot, it's what's it called? So I call it a toe joint. Not a whole lot of figures have this, so I think that that's kind of cool when the figure does have a toe joint. But back to ankle pivot, she of course has that as well. Now it looks like the boot, I always like seeing this with different figures. The boot is not a separate piece, so there's no joint in that part. But articulation seems pretty decent. Overall look pretty decent. I'm not seeing any type of scuffage or anything. Also, it looks like this little pocket on the belt, yep, that is also removable. Don't know why you'd want to remove that, but if you do, you can. Now, let's get into the meat and potatoes, at least that's what I like to call it, is the accessories. So I'm going to go ahead and pull some of those out. Whoop. Stay. Let's go ahead and get the other alternate heads out. Now, you might not be able to see it very well on the camera, but these are her, I guess, energy, like powered up eyes, like when her eyes light up. For those of you who know what Starlight's powers are, I actually feel that looks pretty cool. There you go. And she also comes with a smiley face when she's pretending to be happy when she's actually not happy. So we'll go ahead and pop this one onto the Starlight, see how it looks. And there we go. Also guys, it's actually super easy to pop the head on and off. It's just snug enough to where like it's not gonna fly off if you like shake her or anything like that, but it does fit pretty snug. Now let's go ahead and get the hands knocked out because she has quite a few. She has 2 sets of punching hands, which I'm probably gonna go ahead and put on her in a minute. 2 sets of grip hands, which she will use to grip another accessory that I think is kind of cool. 2 sets of open hands, which are different from the ones that she comes with in the packaging. Another set of alternate open hands. I guess you could use these ones for a high five or something of that nature. And then she comes with another set of open hands that have these pegs sticking out of them, and these are for her light effects, which we will get to in a minute. Right now I'm gonna go ahead and put her fists on, and then I will talk about the rest of her accessories. There we go. Now another accessory that I want to talk about, she actually comes with this tiny little mic, which I thought was cool. I do want to put Starlight in a couple of stop motions. At the moment, I'm the only one doing voice acting, so I don't have any like female voice actors, which is why in my stuff the females don't say anything. I do want to eventually try to get subscribers and friends of mine to do the voice acting. So if you guys are interested in voice acting for a stop motion, I'm not looking for anyone at the moment, but let me know if you're interested and I will definitely keep you in mind, and I will be notifying all of you when that time comes. But right now let's go ahead and see how she looks with this in her hand. I'm gonna switch out one of her hands for the grip hands because that's what we're gonna need for this one, and that actually doesn't look too bad. Awesome. Now we're getting into the last of our accessories. I always feel like Starlight's about to fall over, but it's because I forget she has high heels and I keep trying to like plant her down lower, but you can't because she's wearing high heels. Now these are 2 of the other light effects that you can put onto her open hands that have the pegs on them. Pretty cool design. Really like that a lot. And last but not least, she comes with 2 more. What I think is her like, where she's like shooting her light energy. So that's kind of cool. I'm pretty sure they didn't make this figure at the time. Spoiler for anybody who hasn't seen The Boys yet. But eventually regularly Starlight can't fly, but she eventually learns to fly, so you could also use these for her, like using her powers to like propel her through the air. Just an idea. But let's go ahead and see how those look, and then that will be it for our accessories. Effects. Overall, I think this is actually a pretty cool figure. Now, probably wondering, am I gonna get any more of the Boys action figures? Probably not. Like I said, Starlight is one of the few soups in the show that's not a total scumbag, and even though I could probably think of some cool ideas for stop motions for the rest of the members of the 7, I just don't feel like trying to get them all. And it's Mafex, so they're already a little pricey. And I got this one mainly because she was on sale. But that's pretty much gonna be it, guys. And I do plan on trying to collect some more DC action figures down the line. Probably not gonna be any of the newer ones. Like I said, don't really like collecting 7-inch stuff. Although I do remember Mcfarlane came out with, I think it was called DC Direct. I can't remember. It was like a Batman line for like Batman the Animated Series, and I think that's 6-inch. And I really like Batman the Animated Series, so I might try to see about getting some figures from that, just to have. And if my, my stop motion idea doesn't work the way I want to, at least I still have some DC representation on the shelf. I'm probably not gonna be collecting a whole bunch of them. If anything, I'll probably just get the Justice League and then call it a day. And I already got 3 of them right here. But yeah, guys, before I start rambling, I'm gonna go ahead and call it an episode right here. Comment down below if you guys have any DC action figures, and what kind of DC action figures do you guys collect? Do you just collect the more modern Mcfarlane stuff, or do you try to hunt down some of the older Mattel stuff? I've been seeing a lot of older like Mattel stuff and just like researching and looking up stuff, and a lot of them still look pretty cool compared to like action figures nowadays. But I'm gonna go ahead and end it here. Be sure to follow me on my TikTok, as you'll stay updated when I have plans to upload a video, as well as see exclusive clips that you will not see in my videos. And also stay tuned for some more stop motions. They take a long time to make, so I really do appreciate you guys waiting on those. But yeah. Anyway, guys, until then, be sure to like, subscribe, and go to my channel to check out other videos. Catch you later.